and 7 Spanish angels took another angel home.
Hey, I'm Willie Nelson, and you're watching HempRock TV.
We don't run, and we don't compromise, we don't quit, we never do.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am MSgt Tony Vance, the voice of Freedom's Voice. We're here with Grandpa's World War I flight cap on, and we're going to talk about the fight of our lives. The fight in Ukraine against the Russians, the Russian invasion, let's call it what it is not just a fight of Ukraine and Russia. It is absolutely the fight of our lives. And you start back in World War II. That also was the fight of their lives, the people who worked their way through it. The generation that suffered the most, the young men who had to fight and die to protect democracy from an evil, evil bastard. And here we are again, only it's a lot different this time. When Hitler was rising to power, there was a shakeup in Spanish government and a republic was declared. The fascists under Francisco Franco fled. We're in northern Africa. And due to Hitler and other fascist interventions, he was brought back to Spain with his army, defeated the republic, it was destroyed, and the dictatorship of Francisco Franco was declared. Now, at the time, the other democracies in the world did nothing to support the emerging republic. Now, Americans responded with what was called the Lincoln Brigade, individual volunteers to go and help fight for the Spanish Republic, but officially governments on the Democratic side did nothing. You say, well, it's one country. Oh, yeah. But Hitler saw that and said, they're not going to respond. They're weak. They're afraid. I can do whatever I want. And the next thing you know, we are in World War II. Hitler has control of a vast amount of Europe, threatening people all over the world, allowing the Japanese to rise as they were. These repressive, authoritarian governments where you can't say what you think or write what you feel without fear of going to the gulag or somewhere else. We fought against all that and won. But that was not the end of it, and it never is. And here we are again. Only, as I said, this time it's different. And the way is different is this. We are standing up to them now. We are not waiting until Putin goes into the Baltics and Poland and then maybe responding. We are responding now. Now, I must admit, we should have responded with more strength back in 2014. But at the same time, you got people running around and say, well, we don't want to start a nuclear war and the guy's crazy and, he could just, use tactical nuclear weapons and knock all that shit off. Yeah, he might. But he's using it as blackmail. I might hit the button. You better do what I want. Now, the whole damn Ukrainian invasion has gone to hell in a handbasket. And part of that is because the West is standing up this time. We're not appeasing. A little bit of that was done when he grabbed Crimea. Now he's trying to start crapping the Donbas area so he can grab that. Trying to grab the whole country right now. And not a word they say can be trusted. It's an authoritarian government. He's in control. People go to jail if they even use the word war, for God's sake. So this absolutely is the fight of our lives. Now, you go back to Ukrainian history. Ukraine's been there longer than Russia. But the one thing you find out if you check out Ukrainian history is that piece of land has been bloodied and fought over thousands of years. The Kievan Rus ruled until the Mongols showed up in 1300. What was known as the Kievan Rus. And after the Mongols, is back and forth, who has control. And then you get to World War II. Prior to World War II, the area called Ukraine was serfs and farmers and the breadbasket, actually, of Russia. Stalin, in his insane 5-year plan, decided they were going to go to collectivism, where everybody lived on the same farm and they all worked together and it was going to be a wonderful thing. And they had to get rid of the serfs first. And so they stripped the land, and millions, and I mean millions of people in the Ukraine starved to death. They call that the Holodomor. They've never forgotten. And that was in the 30s. So when the Germans invaded, many Ukrainians were like, yeah, maybe these guys we can get the Russians off our ass. Until they realized the Germans were going to do the same thing to them, only worse. I don't know what could, starving to death or being shot in the back of the head, what could be worse? So here come the Germans. Then here come the Russians again. And when the Russians pushed the Germans out, they started executing anybody that even said hi to a German. I mean, it was just, And then, after the winning the war and all that, Stalin started his purges. Luckily, he had a stroke and fell dead before he could continue. One Russian interviewed who worked with Stalin, interviewed in one of the documentaries I saw, said that if Stalin had been able to continue the purges, he wouldn't have been finished even up to today. And that was a fairly recent democracy, at least in the 90s that was, or a fairly recent documentary in the 90s. Anyway, yeah. So Stalin come back, he's going to kill more people. You can bet the Ukrainians wanted their freedom, and they got it when the Soviet Union collapsed. And now they're trying to keep it. They had to struggle to get it in the first place. To turn into a modern democracy where people work and improve their lives and live in harmony with their fellows. And everybody gets wealthy and healthy together. Why would you want that? And that's all the Ukrainians wanted. But that's not what Putin wants. Putin wants to rebuild the old Soviet Union. And he's doing in Ukraine exactly the same thing he did in Syria. Destroy everything. Except this time it ain't working quite like he hoped. Because the West is standing up. And personally, I think, for example, if we had allowed the Poles to send the jets to Ramstein, those old Soviet jets to Ramstein, then from Ramstein to the Ukrainians, I don't think that would have started a nuclear war. He would have bitched and Putin would have bitched and moaned, but I don't think it would have started a nuclear war. But to bring everything home, this is the fight of our lives. It's the fight of democracy against authoritarianism. Against, I'm the leader, everything I say you have to do, or you'll go to jail or we'll put a bullet in the back of your head. 30 years of Russian economic progress shot to hell in a second because of one man. One man in a country of millions. He seriously damaged Ukraine. Seriously. And if you've seen any of the recent shots of that small town suburb outside of Kiev, the Russians left on their way out, they just shot people. Some of them people had their hands tied behind their back. They're shot in the back of the head. Bodies laying all over the streets. These are monsters. These are not civilized human beings. These are monsters. Like a rabid dog. They need to be eliminated. Russians had a spurt of democracy and it went to hell in a handbasket. And once they got Putin, I knew that was it. Uh-oh. And now we see. And we've seen it before. Georgia, Chechnya, this is the same playbook. This is not going to end. And I don't think it may end even if they got rid of Putin, because the next guy would step up. And everybody'd rally round and the autocracy would continue. And freedom would still be dead. Right? If we could get Russians their true freedom, freedom of speech, freedom to say what you think, that's the key. That's the core. That's what we need. And how they're going to get that, I do not know, because they done run all the independent press out of the country. They're all operating from outside. People who care. A lady was holding up a blank sign. She was arrested. I don't know how to fight back against all of that, but it's got to be done. And whatever we have as Americans have to sacrifice to do it, we should be doing it with a smile on our face, because we are defending ourselves in the process. And all these people complain, why do we send money to foreign countries? So when the crap hits the fan, they'll stand with us. That's why. And because it's the decent thing to do to help out your neighbors. Now, why we don't give more money to our own citizens is another question, and I think I talked about that under the title of buying power. It's not that we give money to other countries and we don't give any to our own people. It's that even if we weren't giving money to other countries, Republicans wouldn't vote to give money to our own people. If they were of that bent, they would have renewed the damn child tax money or the child care money. People were getting checks to help pay for child care for their children so they could go to work, because they don't make enough money to pay for it themselves, which is, like I said, a whole nother problem I covered in Buying Power, the last show. At any rate, bringing it home for the last time, we are defending ourselves by defending Ukraine. We are defending ourselves against authoritarianism. We are defending ourselves against the kind of country some people in our country would have us become. This is the fight of our lives. We can't quit, and we have to win. That's it this time. I got to tell you about the cancer. I got a treatment this coming Sunday. Appointment with the neurologist, or appointment with the neurologist on Thursdays, treatment on Sunday, follow-up 3 shots of that. On the 12th, I see the cancer doctor. I think they got 2 more treatments lined up. I'm going to nail him down and get the whole story. But we had a scan on the 23rd and nobody saw nothing. We're alive. I feel like Frankenstein. Y'all have a good time. It's April. Spring is springing. I can't wait. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Willie Nelson, and the Willie Nelson Teapot Party and I endorse Veterans for Medical Cannabis Access.
Just roll me up and smoke me when I die.